fuck the lion, I'd shoot the fucking lion in his head.
It's so stupid. It's non-vegan.
You're probably the first person to really come out with that idea.
Which is anti-vegan. You people out there know that this is wrong, because otherwise you wouldn't say Gary didn't say this.
So listen, it's my last speech in 2014. You can find it online. I actually opened up the speech condemning carnivore animals. I might have been the first one doing this. I'm not
You
sure.
probably
But
were.
People said, oh, Gary didn't say this. Or Gary said he would shoot a lion to defend the zebra. Or Gary speaks indirect. He says, I would be the first one to, like, that would be like my idea. So he speaks in implications. Alright, let's check this with grape. If someone is, what about grape? You have to say, grape is a red line. We should not do it, and then stand by this and don't do it. So it needs to be holistic. You have to say it, thought, action, everything has to come together. If Gary is a phenomenal person, he's really nice, but then he would be a rape apologist, says, hey, yeah, I totally understand it. I would be the first one to come up with that idea. So you have to hold him accountable for this. Let's start with that. Veganism is a doctrine that humanity should live without animal exploitation. And that is animal use. It's perfectly possible that humanity stops animal exploitation. What's impossible is that humanity ends suffering on Earth. We cannot end death, we cannot end suffering. Even if we end so and so many causes of suffering, there will be other things. This is so stupid. Why we should not do this is the supremacist mentality. The lion and the zebra are both sanctity of life. The vegan is not the ruler. Set them free, emancipation, no domination, no supremacy. That you don't judge between the lion and the zebra. If you think that suffering calculation is a solution, you have to grow up, basically. Life and suffering and death is all connected. This doesn't mean that we as humans have like a free pass to do whatever we want, because we are moral agents. We have a moral agency. That means a moral responsibility. That's why we should be vegan. That's why we should not grape. That's why we need to hold Gary accountable if he's with us, and not say, oh, he's the greatest, oh, this legend. Because if we even take the masterclass serious, where they say, where Gary says there shouldn't be a pedestal, Gary shouldn't be on a pedestal. That means you have to hold him accountable. And you have to understand the problem. That if Gary says stupid shit like hunting, I would hunt. Like, no matter how he says it, it's an implication. There are loads of people out there hunting secretly. And lots of people who learn from the shit, because this is the internet, this sticks. So if they say this is veganism, this is Gary, this is a legend, he's the goat, he implies we should go hunting. He doesn't say it directly, but
fuck the lion, I'd shoot the fucking lion in his head.
And they take it serious and they go out there, and it's not just empty talk. Let's say you don't just waste screen time and time of the people listening to you, and you say something serious and the people take you serious and go hunting, then you're a fucking hunting apologist and you inspire people just to hunt, which is anti-vegan. And there's an army of debate bros who wants to imagine hypothetical scenarios and goes like, talk about the hypothetical scenario that I imagine with me, otherwise, instead of just acknowledging their moral responsibility. And they go in a circle jerk and party when they see this shit. They go like, yeah, finally, such a moral clarity, hunting. It's so stupid. It's non-vegan. And if you say he didn't say it, you have to come to terms with the fact that also your idol is not on a pedestal. And let's say you're doing outreach and someone is a rapist. You still have to hold them accountable for this. This doesn't go away. And with humans we might see it, but with animals we don't see it. Also, if you think that predators need to be eradicated, just the stupidity of the ideas. If you remove the apex predators, it leads in the ocean and on land. If you are consequent with this, if it's not just empty talk and you want to hunt a bunch of lions, if you actually remove them, it leads to a trophic cascade and ecosystem collapse. But if you're consequent and you say, oh, the predation itself is the problem, because animals should not be predated by other animals, then there's also mesopredators, which is omnivores. And then you have to eradicate them too. And if you say there was a time where everybody was herbivore, yeah, there was fucking 60 million years ago. You have to realize how stupid this is, that you want to manage life. You have to come to terms with life and accept your own moral responsibility, that you're not the ruler, that you're not, you have to let down, like, get rid of your human supremacy, where you think you're the ruler of the zebra and the lion and all other animals. And you have to understand the stupidity of your messaging. Ants are predators. There's plenty of ant species, not all who are predators. And they are crucial. This is an interconnected web of life. Only we humans, we are like not really participating. We taking stuff and turning it to garbage. And we have the moral responsibility, we have the moral agency, and we create like slaughterhouses and whatnot. That comes from the mentality that we want to use animals as products, that we want to use animals as resources. Because we feel entitled, we have the supremacist mentality. And in that regard, it's not even a vegan organization. AV is not even a vegan organization if they don't get veganism. If they don't represent it, it's maxima. Yeah, we try to speak for the animals. Stop eating them for food. How many animals? And you can say this is a good deed because it points the people on the journey. But if the journey goes then to hunt the lions, then it's trash. So a vegan organization has to be vegan and hold the members of the organization, no matter if they're popular, if they're the leader, or if they new ones, it doesn't matter. There shouldn't be any pedestals. Vegan organization should hold the people accountable that there is no non-vegan stuff going on. And if you celebrate someone with a hunter's mentality, you have to fucking grow up and stop this shit immediately. Also, the next thing is, if you have an organization and you live based on donations, you live based on the applause of others, you live based on the likes and whatnot, you live based on the approval or people putting in work for you for free, for the animals, and you compromise the vegan message, that's a problem. The Vegan Society in 1951, when Leslie Cross defined veganism, moved down from 600 members to 240, and they pressured Leslie Cross and the others. So In 1957, they changed veganism from anti-exploitation to a diet. In 1978, L.C.B. Shrigley died. In 1979, Leslie Cross died, and they redefined veganism and turned the vegan society into a company. And we all know that there is not two definitions, there's just one vegan definition made by the original vegans with the original vegan intent, and exploitation is defined there as use. It's marked with a marker, or use for selfish purpose, or intimately connected, the problems intimately connected to man's using animals. These are the text passages where it says we need a definition, and this is the analysis, and that leads to the definition, and it's about use. It's there. It says nowhere there interest calculation. That comes from Richard Ryder in the 70s, and it's a non-vegan concept. Even if someone claims I don't have it from Richard Ryder, it has been established in the vegan community in the 70s by Richard Ryder, and now the people push it. Peter Singer has made it popular. Peter Singer himself says, I'm utilitarian, I'm not vegan. And he's doing this interest calculation, which is exactly that thing. It's in the interest of the zebra, it's in the interest of the lion. So let's kill the lion, because it's for the greater good. This is utilitarianism. And Peter Singer says, I'm a utilitarian, not a vegan. He's clear with that. And this has infected veganism, which they try to remove because it was too radical. And if you're a vegan, you should stand for veganism and defend it as such, and not mix it with something else and call it veganism. If you mix it with something else, stop calling it veganism. All of that said, everyone has the moral obligation to be vegan, and that means that you follow the vegan principle, not because I say it, because you just acknowledge that animals shouldn't be exploited, that they ain't objects, and that you bring forth a vegan humanity that lives without animal exploitation, and not bring forth supremacist ideas, anti-vegan ideas, exploitative ideas. In the case of Vegan Gains, he wants to use the meat. Now, let's take this serious. If the goat speaks for hunting, even just an implication, and the lions are hunted, and hey, for net gain, because there's no suffering, we use the fur and the meat, then we have moved not 1 inch. There has been no vegan movement if this is the process. And you have to understand this. So be serious, hold your peers accountable, let them know, no matter how famous or whatever they are, because animals are vulnerable, they're innocent, they're moral patients, they're basically like babies, and we do not judge the sanctity of life, zebra, lion, because the lion and the zebra are both covered by the sanctity of life.